Affirmations daily, you should join in. Love is the vibe and we own it. The universe been talking to the chosen. The universe been talking to the chosen. God energy, God energy. Everything inside of me, feel the frequency. God energy, God energy. Everything inside of me, you feel the frequency.
You amazing, you should say it, you so powerful.
Peace, 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 family. Shadow Work Sundays where self-love is therapy. You know, much gratitude to the family, much gratitude to the tribe. We here again, another one. We're not gonna say after another week, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna say after another 7-day cycle. We are here again because we're stronger. We're getting stronger, you know what I mean?
Not getting weaker.
I say, shadow work is for the strong, you know what I mean? So we really out here putting in that work. So today we're actually going to speak about relationships. We actually spoke about relationships in the past. We spoke about relationships with your car, relationships with your house, relationships with your passion, relationships with your career. But today we're actually going to talk about relationships in the sense of a spouse, in the sense of the whole falling in love aspect. Why did we fall in love? Why did we desire a relationship? Why did it go wrong? Why did we attract what we attracted, and why are we attracting what we are attracting per se? So we're going to speak about the relationship. So once again, much gratitude, family. So you know how we do. We actually do have a special guest, Seven Circles. He'll be here in a second, and so we actually probably play the singing bowl twice, honestly, just to get him on that frequency as well.
Yeah, I love it.
I say. Much gratitude to you again, family, just for, whenever we do it, times like the singing bowl, really resonating and really respecting that time, because that is a time we can open our heart space and, so much gratitude to you again. Let's get into the shadow work crystal of the day. Like I said, I really don't want to just dig in before family comes in. So the shadow work crystal of the day is actually rhodite, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. It is a heart chakra crystal, very powerful crystal, and I say,
I say.
yeah, very very powerful. You know, we need balance in everything that we do.
Yes,
You
we
know,
do.
and so
Equilibrium.
I say, so we're gonna get to it. Because this is podcast, not podcast. You feel me? So we got to get right to it. So everything you do, this is almost like the slogan for this. I like to have slogans. You know what I'm saying? For the episodes. This one is everything you do in love will manifest.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So everything you do in love will manifest.
And because love is the manifesto of all things in the first place, so that's only fitting.
I say,
It's only
I
right.
say. I want to set the tone by we are going to speak about many different situations. This will be a very vulnerable night. Julio will speak. I'll speak. Seven Circles, I guess he's actually going to speak on his personal life, and we're going to speak about relationships. And we're going to speak about healing. We're going to speak about, like I said, different scenarios, and then we're actually going to bring on some goddess as well
Hmm.
to speak about their perspective, on just dating and just this time and the trauma and the pain and the maybe there's a cycle, that we're gonna address all those type of things. All right. So
It's gonna
first
get deep.
question is what is your intention of wanting a relationship?
I feel like that's a
Um,
great place to start because that's where it all begins.
and you know what? At this moment, we're gonna do a legendary announcement. Seven Circles is officially in the building. So
Hey,
peace, 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 family. Much
peace, family.
gratitude. You know, um, we have
I'm
Seven
doing.
Circles here. This is actually a brother that been putting out work and actually promoting and giving knowledge and love to the community for a while. So go check him out on TikTok, on YouTube.
So
Really on all platforms. You know what I'm saying? I actually met him on TikTok, but we grateful to have you here, bro. Much gratitude. You know, um, he's officially in the building.
Thank you so much for having
peace.
me. Sorry, I was a little bit late. Got caught up, a little bit behind schedule. Yeah,
That
No, it's
happens,
all
man.
good. The fact that we don't live in this dimension warrants us being late at times. You know what I'm saying? Um,
In the
so
world, but
yeah,
not of it.
so we actually just now getting started. And actually, I want to play the Horse Chakra Singing Bowl again, um, just to get us aligned on the same frequency. I say. Once again, much gratitude, family, for being here. You know, um, and so we actually just got started. So the first thing, so the slogan of the episode basically is everything you do in love will manifest. And so because love is essentially the key to everything in what we're going to speak about, whether it's self-love or a certain type of love that needs to be projected out. Um and then the next thing is we ask is what are your intentions of wanting a relationship? And that's really where we at right now with that. With what are your intentions of wanting a relationship? And this is not something that everybody has to necessarily answer in the chat, but it's a personal question to analyze when you're actually dealing with someone and you're actually considering going into that place, or you're actually having this friend and ready to go cross over to that certain place. It's like, what is the motives behind that? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us and everything that we do actually comes with some type of motive. There's a reason behind every action. And so when it comes to relationships, we want to really analyze why we're doing what we're doing. And actually, before we move on, let's get to the etymology and the definition of relationships.
Let's get
So
that
if you
going.
can get that for us, Divine Julio,
So let me know when you're ready for it.
we good.
Cool. So relationship can be defined as, given a longer definition, the way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected. And the etymology of that, or the origin of the word, it comes from relation and then plus ship, and it's a sense or state of being related by kindred, affinity, or other alliance.
I say, I say. That's that's really powerful. Um, Okay, so let's go back. Can you read the definition one more time?
Yes, sir. It's going to be the way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected.
So I like the concepts part of it because when we come into relationships, you have your own concept of life. You have your own concept of reality. You have your own concept of love. You have your own concept of what a relationship is supposed to look like. You have your own concept of what your standard is. You know what I'm saying? And so immediately we clash based off a concept. Once you get out the interview stage is when, like we talked about, when everybody's being super nice and you got the customer service on, you know what I mean? Like you're only showing the good parts of you, you're highlighting the key parts of yourself, you in this interview stage. But once you get out of that stage, what happens? Only thing pops up is that these concepts, these certain ways of life, these certain patterns that maybe mama and daddy really put on you, like, you know, we have certain households where I do it this way, and if y'all do it like this, my mama say y'all doing what y'all doing is crazy. So we're already judging each other. So you trying to merge two people together, but I'm really judging what you come from based off of where I come from. You see what I'm saying? Based off these concepts. And so I think once again, just based off of the spirit moving at the current time, the Four Agreements is another book for relationships. Because the detaching aspect and the not taking things personal aspect is very important when it comes to us getting into relationships. You would think getting into a relationship would be all about feelings, but that's not what it's really all about. Feelings only show you a certain part of relationships is multidimensional. Love is multidimensional. So when you look at your feelings, that's only one dimension of this action that you're actually about to do. You get what I'm saying? Um, and so my question, I guess, for you, Seven Circles, to start it off with you, what has really been like your drive, or what is your drive, for a relationship, if you actually do desire a relationship.
Yeah. Once again, thanks for having me. I'm really honored to be here.
Yes, sir.
Relationships for me, it's about expanding. There's a Chinese proverb that says one sorrow shared is half the sorrow, but one happiness shared is double the happiness. So I find it that when I'm in a relationship, that everything that I am is enhanced, right? And a lot of times they call the person your other half. So if the person is your other half, then yeah, it would be enhanced, right? Everything that you're doing would be enhanced. So for me, it's nothing like when I'm cooking something, but I cook for somebody else and that person loves it just as much. It's going to enhance that feeling rather than if I'm just cooking for myself. Relationships make me want to drive harder. It makes me want to go further. It makes me want to be more determined. And even if that is a relationship with my son or my daughter or who it might be, but when it comes to this intimate relationship, because you're entangled with that person in such an intimate way, yeah, for me personally, it gives me that much more power to go out there and do what I need to do. So
Sure.
yeah.
That's very powerful and so true. And I wasn't going to go here so soon, you know what I'm saying? But I guess this how we can start it. For me, obviously I told you, I've been married for 8 years, and I've been knowing my goddess for a long time, since third grade. We have one of those stories. At the same time, people look at it like, it's such an amazing love story, because it is. But to actually make it to the love story part where it actually felt like this love story that everybody was telling, it took a lot, and it's beautiful because what Julio was talking about last episode about Brother Yosef, saying it's a project. And so, to me, I look at it like, you want to find your perfect project. It's not about finding the perfect person, because that's impossible. You're imperfect to someone, as much as we may feel like we're perfect, as and so, but you can't be perfect. to someone as well. You can be, you can be everything, all of your flaws could be perfect. And to me, that's love. Whenever this person flaws, even though you like, whenever I could love my goddess in a place of self-love, whenever I knew it was irritating me, or I knew this was something that actually like I felt like she should be really past, but I'm like, nah, I'm still showing her love. That type of energy will shift everything. You know what I'm saying? And in return, I become a greater man. And so this is a point that I was going to speak about later as well. Is when you get into a relationship, this is your number one accountability partner, and I think we miss that. This person is literally here to call you out. They should love you enough to tell you. You know what I mean? They're your number one business partner. Your number one business is your marriage, is your relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if this relationship not working, even if y'all not living together, this relationship not working, it's going to affect how you're working, how you're acting at work. It's going to affect how you're acting with your family. This business is the most important business in your life. Once you merge with someone else, energetically, emotionally, they can control you from, we know the power of love. We don't have to be in the same state, the same city, the same country, and people are falling in love. And energetically, if that person stopped answering the phone today, this person is way over here in a whole other country, can't work, calling off, frustrated with their family, so, you know, um, yeah, that's my perspective. One of my perspectives. I'm not gonna go too deep because I want y'all to go in. But that is my basic perspective of what a good relationship looks like and what true love looks like. You know what I'm saying? It looks like compassion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can't
And
have compassion without passion.
I like that.
I say.
And yeah, I would say, for me, going back to the motivating factor for relationships is twofold. Like Seven Circle said, there's an element about relationships that give me a motivation to be my better self. And kind of tapping into what you said as well, King, because you have somebody there that's either rooting you on, or at the very least they're there as a spectator to your journey. So it's kind of like an extra reason to go hard. For this person that you care about, whether that be financially or emotionally pouring into that person.
Right.
But I would also say, me in a relationship, I love that aspect of having somebody to give to and having somebody to share with. That's a big part of it for me, is that that ability to just to do the small things, like small surprises, or anything that that can add to that person's life or make them better, that you're there to provide it. I like that giving. I like to give in relationships more than take. Because that's a big joy for me. Um, and I feel like this is a good starting point for the episode, because if we're not careful and we're not aware of what our motivator factor is for being in a relationship, we can end up in a relationship, and if you don't even know where your starting point is, you obviously won't have any idea as to the destination, right? So
I
a lot of
say.
the times, a lot of people, majority of people are, unhealed and dealing with trauma and not aware that they're unhealed and dealing with trauma. So a lot of people are looking for relationships to fill a void within themselves, whether that be uh, an uncomfortability with being alone and having to take a deep look at yourself, as a distraction from the things you should be working on, or
Right.
to fill an emotional void that you might have gotten, from trauma with your parents. So I feel like in today's world, where there's so much trauma and there's so much, I guess you could say, emotional chaos, I feel like it's important to make sure that, before you go to get in a relationship, you're not attempting to subconsciously fill a void, because, as we know, those voids of self, they can only be filled with you and with your,
With self.
your self-love. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a good starting point for the episode, because that's like level one of the relationship factor is the why to it. The why am I seeking out somebody to share my time and my life with? Because that can save a lot of time, in and of itself.
No
And
facts.
being honest with yourself to say, I might just be doing this because I'm a little bit lonely and I need somebody to talk to and this and the third. But the question, arises that says, are you willing to put 100% into somebody, or are you willing to give, time, emotion, compassion to somebody, um,
I like
just
real
because you
quick.
love them?
I like how you said 100% because people get it misconstrued. It's not 50-50. I need all of you and you should have all of me. And that's obviously that could be over exaggerated because I also believe and know that if you have a relationship based off of need each other, it won't work based off if I want you.
Yeah, that's
When I
right.
want you, I'm going to be grateful for you. I'm gonna show gratitude, and gratitude, the type of love that gratitude provides when you wake up next to somebody and you're grateful to
Yes,
have
sir.
them in your life. There's no type of love like that you're gonna give that person. There's no there's that's a humble. Let me see. That's a humble love. I'll say it like that. That's a I'll wash your feet love. You know what I'm saying? And, that is a, like I said, a very humble love. And so we got to take the pride out of the way that we love each other in our relationships. You know what I'm saying? But I want to read this comment
Sure.
from Mama. This is Shadowwork Sunday's Mama. I like to always make that announcement. You know what I'm saying? Put some respect on it. You feel me? But relationship is a bond of love, peace, honest, and it's also opposite of you all together as one to make a good energy and positive caring for each other and etc. You know, facts. It's not about one person. That's the basis of any relationship. Relationships are about a union. They're
Hmm.
about a the like right now. We are on here right now. Seven Circles is on here due to a relationship. And now we're actually on here as three beings, as a union, as a team, actually, delivering what we're delivering. You know what I'm saying? This is the power of relationship. You know what I'm saying? Connection. And whenever you connect with someone, this is the ultimate connection. We're talking about energy. Who you gonna give your energy to more than the person you're in a relationship with?
Mm, true. Yo, I kind of got a question though. Going back to Julio. So,
Okay.
do you think that it's important to talk about in the beginning of a relationship what your intentions are and what you plan on drawing from the relationship? Because a lot of these things aren't talked about. A lot of these things are just assumed. So, do you think that there should actually be a conversation like, "Hey, I'm looking to get"? I mean, of course, people might talk about marriage down the line or something like that, but should it actually get deeper than that? Like a real conversation about what this relationship should,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm.
and yeah, and it's funny because I think that's like a technically an old fashioned thing, where guys would state their intention, like my intent to a woman is like my intention is A, B, and C. Um, I feel like it would save people a lot of time, to be honest, and I
Mm,
feel like it would save a lot of confused situations if we were to be upfront with our intentions with people, because like you said, it either is assumed or you know that your intention is different from theirs, so you're trying to hide that intention. Maybe one person is more into you than you are to them, and you're only there for a certain reason, shall we say.
right.
It might be, you might want to be involved with them, but you might not want to go as far commitment wise as they are. So you don't let them know. It's just like at that moment that, okay, I only want to go but so deep with this person, but I know that they're looking to go the whole way with me. I feel like um, it could be seen as kind of like an alignment in a sense. If two people are misaligned with that intention and getting together in the first place, it's naturally going to cause problems. Or if we don't even say problems, it's gonna be some awkward conversations. It's gonna be a lot of well, what are we? Uh, are we exclusive? This and the third. So I feel like different strokes for different folks. Some people I know would rather have more relaxed situations with people, and I guess not address these things. But if you are looking to find yourself in a long term relationship with somebody, I feel like you're gonna save yourself a lot of time through the let's say the candidate process of finding that perfect mate, of just being upfront, instead of having to work through a bunch of uh, obscure assumptions, essentially, like you said, that kind of just have you guys spinning wheels. So
And
I
can I
would
say
say,
this
yeah,
too?
I would say it would be a good thing, I think, to mention intentions up front.
I just want to add to what you're saying in the sense of, when you're already in a relationship, because that's why I'm gonna be standing at most of this conversation, besides my notes and what I feel like I'm meant to give on the other side. But me and my wife didn't have the real relationship that we have until we started being raw and real. We had to take that mask off. We had to stop acting like, no, be real with me. Please tell me what's the problem. Please. You know what I'm saying? Like, please, you know what I'm saying? Like, please tell me that I irritate you like I do this. You know what I'm saying? So either we can figure out maybe it's something from your childhood or something going on with you that maybe I'm triggering you, or it's something that I'm doing that I'm actually transferring trauma on you. If we don't speak on it, we can't address it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. I don't think a lot of our people actually speak with the intention of healing. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop
For
arguing
sure.
and start talking to heal. We like, even if you have an argument, you know what I'm saying, you get upset, you know what I'm saying, we all due to the alignment of the universe and where we fall in that alignment, we are affected different ways. So you do have good days and bad days, in the sense of you might want to be around a lot of people some days, and some days you might not want to be around nobody, including your spouse. You know what I'm saying? um but at the end of the day, I would just say it's all about balance. You know what I'm saying? And everything is all about balance.
What I found out when it came to do a lot of healing with relationships is that it was important for me to to change the environment. If you think about you get a cut on yourself, or you're in some type of sickness, uh, the sickness really doesn't dissipate or come into a state of alignment of healing until the environment is changed. The band-aid is going to change the environment. It's going to not expose you to the elements. The peroxide is going to change the environments. It's going to get rid of the bacteria, whatever. Sometimes just going into the woods, away from everything, it changes the environment. So
Hmm.
it was a really bad relationship that I was in, and it was hard for me to actually heal from past things. So in order for me to heal, I actually had to get away for a while, and just having time just to be by myself and kind of be at a neutral state. Healing was accelerated tremendously. So I just wanted to put that out there.
And that's funny you said that, because I went through something similar, where I had to step back from the idea of relationships altogether. Like you said, because of just so many, I would say, not bad, but failed situations that also came with trauma, where, like you said, it was like, okay, I got to remove everybody else from the equation and really get to me and figure out why I'm attracting certain people, why certain situations keep repeating themselves. Um, and that wasn't able to happen until I was isolated into myself and not looking to, surround myself with somebody just because. That's as of quite recently, actually, and I feel like
The-
what you just spoke on is deep, because I feel like a lot of people go from relationship to relationship because they are uncomfortable with sitting with themselves and really, being comfortable with themselves and kind of tapping into themselves to figure out what it is they want, what it is they need, um, when to call it quits because they're not getting those things. But that all starts with that isolation, like you said. So I feel like that resonates for me. You saying that, so I can only imagine if it resonates for others. It
and
might
we,
it might and I'll finish with, it might seem, you know, different being alone or being okay with being single and lonely, but um,
Facts.
sometimes you really got to do the due diligence of being with yourself for some time.
And I just want to say, for this message, this is Mama Logical, and she definitely had pointed this out, that she wanted to speak on it, and I think that it's powerful that y'all kind of already speaking on it, with what y'all both have already said. You know what I'm saying? About the isolation and kind of going to sit with self and, really assessing self and really analyzing what self really wants and what self really needs in a relationship and out of self, because the first relationship and the biggest relationship is the relationship with self. I was really broken, and I didn't, but before me and my goddess actually got to where we're at now, and before we actually, was together, I was out here, you know, essentially, like they say, looking for love in the wrong places. But I was looking for love because for the same purpose you guys both said. I loved giving love. And so that get tiring when you're not getting that reciprocated back. You start to feel some type of
Yeah.
way, and then you start to look at love different. And so when I started to look at love different, I have a quote in here where I say that love, the way you love, affect the way you look at love. You
Mm.
know, so you're building this perspective, because this episode we're going to talk a lot about the subconscious mind, and that's just per Dr. B. He dropped some notes and some things that really made me think. And it's not even necessarily some of the things I'm gonna speak on. I'm gonna say some of the things that he actually said, but some of the things is just the things that he made me think about and I analyze about relationships. And something that he spoke about was that our subconscious is in control of everything
Mm.
at full time. Even when and the best example is breathing. You don't have to tell yourself to breathe. Your subconscious is already handling that, naturally. And so, and basically was saying that when you have these traumatic situations or whatever happened, good or positive, I mean, negative or positive, you actually store like a file in your subconscious. And you create this, and this is where your habits come from. This is where these second nature things come from. And you're actually building your reality based off of your habits and the things that you do consistently. And so, basically, like when something traumatic happened to us, we replay it over and over in our head. We live with that pain. Then it actually becomes its own file. So my point is that I was doing that with relationships. I was creating all these files in my subconscious of these different relationships, which we would call soul ties. I was creating all these different files, and they was based off of love, but me wanting to give love. You see what I'm saying? And so, like I said, in return, I became full of doubt and full of fear. So I started to like feel like love almost like wasn't real. Love ain't for me. And then music could easily get you caught up with some whole love is just a fluke type of thing. And then I got to the definition of what true love really was. And what's so powerful is that me and my goddess showed true love. And I'm not gonna say we was just purely low vibrational, but I mean, I was low vibrational. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna speak for her. You know what I'm saying? But I was out of there. But the love I had and that we actually shared was the purest example of love that I ever seen in my life. And so back again, once again, me here, like I said, I'm here to give life as well to the situation. And man, just if it there should be a feeling, and I'm not talking about a feeling of infatuation. We get caught up on infatuation too much. We call infatuation love. And that's due to trauma. We want to be stimulated. We have to be real with ourselves. Sometimes we get in relationships because of the stimulation.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? The excitement that it brings. You see what I'm saying? And into our life. And me and my wife, we had to have a boring time in this marriage at a certain time to grow, to get to know each other, to step back. Seven Circles, you a busy man. You really out here building empires, and also you're giving to the community. Whenever someone wants to merge with you, you know, that that's a lot they gotta that they have to respect and have to understand. You know why? Because you actually moving in your purpose. And so my point in saying it is that when we're moving in our purpose, it's automatically like it cuts off so much, because if they can't fit within your purpose and they don't respect your purpose, they ain't the one anyway. You know, and so I think that's where I want to transition to there. You know, with both of y'all being gods, you know, and being here and me knowing that without my goddess, it would be hard for me to do this. And with her support, I'm a superhero. So with y'all actually, you know, speaking from that aspect of, you know, a goddess and kind of seeking and kind of being out here, you know, not gonna say on the market, but I'm gonna say like I heard, you know, dating and, you know, casually, you know, having friends and whatnot. How is that working or how important is that when it comes to them respecting your purpose?
Yeah, I think it's important to first to note that you're only a failure when you quit. And I'm sure we heard this in many different forms
Right.
before. And a lot of people use the analogy of Tesla, creating the light bulb 10,000 tries, which we know he didn't create it, right? He just
Right.
he just overseen it. So it's important to put that out there. But when it comes to relationships, right? When I first started a business, I remember one of my first clients, one of an older guy, about 60, Jewish guy. He was like, "Don't get a business partner," because I asked him about business partners. He was like, "Don't get a business partner if they've been married more than twice." And I was like, "Why not?" And he was like, "Because it shows that they don't have any tenure. It shows that they can't really keep a contract." He was like, "Business partners are more important than the actual marriage." Right. And his business partner was actually married 5 times. It was a woman. And he was like, "See what I got?" And we started laughing. Right. But I think that because I was talking about failing, and failing is only failing if you give up. And so, me personally, myself, I spoke about this with you guys before, but I'll just say it right here, right? 3 different children, 3 different baby mothers. And my family will look at me, right? I'm the one that has the most children out of my family. They will look at me like, "Oh, here Jonathan goes again with a new girlfriend," right? I mean, I just got a new girlfriend not too long ago. And it seems like the shelf life, for lack of better words, is about a year and a half to 2 years. But I feel like that's about the amount of time that it takes to really get to know a person. And especially these women, I actually lived with these women. So that accelerates getting to know someone. So,
It does for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Not being able, not being afraid to fail. So if I'm looking for something that's going to resonate with me, I have to go out there and look. I have to go fishing, and if it's in the right fish, and then you throw it back. And so, um, yeah, I just want to say to people, don't fall in that category of, "Oh, I have to date this person because or stay with this person because my family or my friends or whoever you might be, they might look at me like, oh, just I can't keep a relationship, or oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm never going to find the one." Sometimes you got to try it 10,000 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you actually land the one that you are looking for. Um, yeah, relationships is a big thing. I mean, if you look at the numbers, and I kind of lost track of where we're going with this, but I do want to say this. If you look at the numbers based on marriage, you talked about merging, right? And where does marriage comes from? It comes from merging. And if you look at the numbers, it's about a 40% divorce rate within the first 2 years, And so, I just think that's important to really get to know a person, right?
Yes.
Really, find out what's in that person's soul. And for me, the best thing to do is to live with that person and to ask a lot of questions. Ask a lot of questions.
That's
Definitely
deep.
agree wholeheartedly, man. I mean,
Gotta know who you dealing with. So so let's actually speak about um how we're being affected by the media. You know, how media actually is pushing relationships. Social media to be exact. Obviously we know media is influencing a lot of things, but I want to speak about social media specifically and how social media is actually affecting. I know many people that it's affecting their relationships, and then in many forms it may be actually affecting people from actually getting into relationships because of the agenda that they're actually pushing. So I guess Julio, you know what I'm saying, talk to me. You know, how do you feel personally, I guess, from even maybe even, guidance that you're dealing with or things that you're just observing, just watching the community about the media and how social media is affecting our community when it comes to relationships.
um, man, I feel like it's relevant, the spin that the media puts on well, let me put it this way. I think the state of relationships, um, generally right now, definitely reflects certain narratives that the media puts out. And if not even taking it to the media, but if we take it all the way back to, a lot of people are familiar with the Jim Crow letter. Um, and Jim Crow, for people who don't know, he was a slave owner who devised this methodology of psychologically breaking somebody to be a slave, to be a quote unquote efficient slave.
Right.
And, you know, because a lot of people I found unfamiliar with this, one of the first things that he did or employed was to separate the man from the woman. And he stated that that's done intentionally so that the woman now uh, she's made to be independent because she no longer
Right.
has the structure of the man as her protector and provider, and then as the family as a whole. And he further stated that uh, once the woman reaches that psychological perspective, that she'll raise the children to be the same way, and she'll raise the daughter to be uh, independent and to not see the necessity for a man or for a family, to be honest. And he stated directly that if these methods were followed, that you would make a slave for 300 plus years, and
Yeah.
that's something that I take it there because that is still the narrative I feel that the media uses um, to not only prevent the starting of black families, but to
Right.
destroy black families, that even do exist. It's that essentially it's a lack of unity. We already lack unity as a community, but that's shattering the first level of unity, which starts in the household and as a family. Families are what build communities. That's like the microcosm to the macrocosm, of life and civilizations is that family. So if there's no sense of family, no sense of what it means to be an integral part in a system, meaning you function in a group, and as a family or a group, you manifest certain things in life where you advance yourself as a family. Um, the media still plays on that where it makes men think that um, having a woman is a liability and it's an extra uh, it's an extra expense basically, and that women are only there to take from your pockets and they're there to exploit you. It makes women think that uh, that they don't necessarily need men, that they don't need somebody to protect and provide for them, that they have to go and do it all. Not only do they have to nurture and do they have to maintain a household, but now they have to go do the same thing a man is doing, which is conquering the world to provide. So I feel like again, that narrative that's played out in the media is a very old trick. Um, I'd say I wouldn't use the word oppressors. It's an old trick by those seeking to, destroy us at core levels, which is the family. Um,
Yeah.
so
You know
the
what I
media, I
would
feel
say?
like is very relevant with that, man.
I would say that is deep too, as you spoke on that, because if you look at I'm not sure what I was looking at or what I was actually studying, but far as the whenever they wage war on us as a household, the black household, the carbonated household, the melanated, family, they attack the God first. They attack the man first. You know why? Because he's the protector. And so whenever Seven Circle spoke earlier about this certain type of drive that he gets when he's doing something for his woman, he's ready to do whatever. It's just like that's that warrior. That's that we'll do anything for them when the blink of an eye. You know what I'm saying? They know that, and so they know they can't battle and fight against us at their highest capacity whenever we're moving and operating and we have something to protect. So what they do? They put you out on the curve. They separate you, put you out here with a whole bunch of niggas. You ain't got nothing to protect. It's just y'all. Every
Mm.
man for themselves. And you know this in the back of your head. As much as these your homies, you know every man for themselves. Versus if y'all have families to go home to, everybody will be making a difference because everybody will be focused on. And so I feel like even that attack was very, very, very much so strategic,
Yeah.
to take the man out of his place as a protector. You
And it's
know,
funny. Yeah,
let me say
and
this
I don't.
real quick.
Go ahead.
It's sad because even I feel like due to what our ancestors been through, that God is still has a lack of trust in us due to the us even allowing them to go into slavery.
And it's funny. It's
You know
funny
what
you
I'm saying?
mentioned that because that was a facet of the Jim Crow letter. That's they would, you know, and a lot of people know that as buck breaking, but they would take the biggest, strongest leader, you know, of the tribe or the community, and you know that they would obliterate him in front of everybody else, and psychologically, that would completely, you know, remove the male as, you know, in everyone's mind and community, like that's the protector. He's going to be the one who, you know, who protects us and who comes through to save
Dominant.
the day.
Yeah.
You know, so it's funny you spoke on that, King, because that's one of the first things that they did to make sure that, you know, we don't, you know, women, like you said, there's a lack of trust, and I feel like it's on a, you know, there's a such thing as cellular memory. So there's a cellular memory of these things
Right.
that say, you know, oh, if I trust him too much, there's still somebody that can come in, you know, and take that away. So I feel like it's
Mm.
deep that you spoke on that because I felt like, you know, if we're getting deep, that's something that you know, I've dealt with personally in relationships is in me wanting to fulfill my role in being a leader and guiding you know, my goddess or my woman. There's a lack of trust there, you know, that's like okay, well, you know, how do I know that you know, or how do I know that you're gonna, you know, protect me and make sure that, you know, we have stability and things of that nature. And like I said, when that's not there, um, you know, relationships really can't thrive, and we don't get to the point of being married and having a family. So it's like it's no wonder why, you know, as years go on, we see our communities instead of increasing, you know, instead of building, you know, at an accelerated rate, we see more decline with our people because the family has been in decline, but now it's almost extinct. You know, the even the idea of people our age of wanting to be married or to start a family, there's a lot of resistance to that because of those attitudes and those beliefs about, you know, what it means to be committed to somebody and married. You know, it's just the idea that it's supposed to be, and you know, in my opinion, the union between a man and a woman, especially a melanated man and a woman, is the most divine interaction that can take place. Right? It's the union of the divine masculine and the divine
I see.
feminine coming together. You know, which makes a full being. Um,
Mm.
and I think I heard, I think it was Brother Yosef actually that also said, you know, when a divine masculine and a divine feminine are in alignment, it's like putting two batteries in a remote control and being able to change the channel of reality. You know, the ability to, you know, because
Powerful.
you're now not experiencing reality just a divine masculine with that perspective. You now have and are connected and merged with the divine feminine where you see the world through her eyes. You know, you get insight from her feminine intuition
I
that you
see.
can apply to your life. You know, so it's like an upgrading of life. You know, so to
Right.
speak.
So
But
I have a question.
if you, I would say, but if you don't know that, you know, and you don't think that there's an advantage in that union, you're never going to experience, you know, the magic. But go ahead.
I
Absolutely.
say
Absolutely. I kind of want to touch on media a little bit. That's cool.
no.
And,
Let's go.
and
Let's go.
how does actually influences us in our relationships? Because well, first and foremost, when we look at media, right, anything that starts with an M, right, what I found out, a lot of times it has to do with the middle, whether if that's man, even man, right? He could be God, he could be the devil, but man is in the middle. If you look at M, M is for the middle, M is for a medium. You look at your mind is between your body and your soul. So the media, right, the middle, and even not me that, even if you look at all of the letters in the alphabet, you got 26 letters. M is actually the 13th letter, which is
Mm.
directly in the middle.
Mm,
So M, right? M and the media, you have to be careful first and foremost. And this is my opinion because the media has affected me, especially on TikTok. And I realized that I had to get away from it for a little bit. So the first thing that a lot of people do when they wake up, unfortunately, is they look at this directly. And you were talking about Dr. B and the subconscious mind. But if you know, and he was speaking really about the theta mind state, THETA. If you know anything about the theta or theta mind state, right? The
Yes, sir.
brainwave.
Yes, sir.
What this mind state says, it says that in order to change this mind state, right, you have to do repetition, or either you got to do it at something, you got to do it when you're young, specifically before the age of 7, from 1 through 7, right? And that's shaping like the foundation of your life. So when you wake up, about 20 minutes prior to waking up, your theta is still activated. So whatever you're watching, whatever your environment you're submersing yourself in, that's going to be deeply programmed into your subconscious mind. Now, this could be used in a negative way or a positive way, either or. But it's not just 20 minutes after you wake up. It's actually 20 minutes prior to going to sleep as well, too. So to put this together, if somebody's about to go to sleep and they're tired, but they're on this, right? This is going to affect their subconscious. Thus, is going to affect their actions and how they perceive the world, and also when they wake up. So we had a brother that passed away, rest in power, Kevin Samuels. He had a big impact on the community and the way that people looked at relationships. And a lot of what he said I agree with, and a lot of what he said I didn't agree with. But he did make some good points, and he was very logical and very strategic. And he followed what do you call it? I forget the name of it, but pretty much where you get data from like a website, and you get the numbers, right? Statistics. He did follow statistics, which I definitely can respect that. Not to say that all of them are totally accurate, but one thing that he always talked about was high value men and high value women. And I think it's kind of safe to say that he kind of coined that term. If not, he made it popular to most people. So I think that it's really a shame that when we look at money being a substitute for a woman, or money being a substitute for a man, because Julio, you were talking about that, people like Beyonce, right? I don't need a man. I'm an independent woman, right? And then you have men who talk about things like money over, for lack of a better word, bitches, which are in a lot of the music, right? And this is the mantra that's being played over and over again. People begin to accept that, and thus their actions begin to represent that. So going back to social media, right? Because this is what we're talking about. So social media is knowing that it's a middleman, right? Knowing that social media is a middleman, and it's the medium, it's the middle. So you got to be careful. You got to always be the guard of the gate of your mind. You always have to make sure that. And I'm just looking at the chats, and while I'm talking, I see free girls. So this is kind of throwing me off, because this is what social media does, right? This is what social media does.
Well, I just had to block that user. You know how it go, man. Every
Yeah,
time you're
yeah,
talking that real, they try to come in and
it's
bring some
interesting.
type of weird spammers, and they know what you're talking about too.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, but so in order to get control over the subconscious mind, you have to know yourself, and that's why I always wear these hats. Know thyself, because the minute you know yourself, then you know what you're going to do, and you know what you're not going to do, right? It's just as simple as that. So
I
again,
see.
always having the guard, always being like, if you're going to go to a club, there's a guard at the club. He's checking your ID, making sure that everything matches up before you
I
can
like
actually
that.
go to the club. Do we do that with the information that we allow to take rent and space inside of our mind? Do we say, hold up, show me your ID, let me check out your credentials, let me make sure
Right,
that
right,
this
right.
is valid before I give it a place inside of my mental body? Because we
Show
got
me your
mental,
vibration.
right? Yeah, yeah. Show me your ID. But a lot of times people don't. A lot of times people just go, "Oh, I heard this. Oh, I heard that," or they run it back with the program. Right? This is how they validate it. They run it back with the program that they had in the past: a parent, a teacher, a religion, or whatever. And if those two match together, and then they say, "Okay, I accept this as truth." But if it doesn't match together, there's some conflict, and they go, "Oh, I don't know if I believe this. What about so and so and so?" First, you got to be the guard of the gate of your mind, and you got to have a relationship with yourself, and you have to know yourself, because once again, if you know who you are, then you know who you are not.
Exactly.
That's deep. If you know who you
I
are, then you
sure.
know who you are not. I love that. I live by that. You know what I'm saying? I live by, I tell people all the time, if you don't know what you will do, know what you won't do. You feel me? So that's kind of the same type of thing. But
Yeah,
that's real.
I
I
sure.
respect that. So one of the comments from Logical, says, so now I see trends where a lot of young women become pregnant, separate from the fathers before the babies are born, and then the young women proudly say they don't need the fathers at all. Um, and that is definitely a thing, and it's very popularized in the music. That is almost like it's so many songs that are promoting that action. You know what I'm saying? It's deep. Let you say what you said. Seven Circles. How that chat just started doing this. Never has never happened. And how they start trying to pop up and really like,
Trolls popping
you
up.
know what I mean? Yeah, that's deep because
Turn the
that's how
frequency down. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's like that's how you know. That's like
Frequency getting too high.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But that's really how the media works. The media is pushing this whole basically I think the point of that message to me and how I look at it is the psychological scam. You know, to feel like, you know, there's no focus of family. The whole goal is about selfish me, what I can do to actually hurt you. You know, it's a trauma based I want to hurt you type of energy. You know what I'm saying? All we want to do is hurt each other. And this is off subject, but I'm gonna just kind of speak on it. The same thing with the killing, us killing each other. It's the same thing that's happening in relationships. We're killing each other with words and actions and taking babies, and you know what I'm saying, these babies, which is actually part of my notes, and we can kind of go into that. Nah, we're gonna wait actually, but these babies are being affected, you know. And so this is my next question, based off some things that y'all had said a while ago, and I want to ask this question to all of us, and I can kind of dialogue on my perspective, but also to everyone in the live. Are you afraid of love? You know, and I think that is a real question we have to ask ourselves. Are you afraid of love?
I would
Um,
say, piggybacking off just that question, as people think, I think it would be more relatable to say people are afraid of what love comes with. And, like you spoke on earlier, love can come with the excitement. It can come with the physical affection. It can come with the dates, you know, the sexy stuff about relationships. But it also comes with accountability, with sometimes sacrificing yourself for the happiness of your partner. It comes with a lot of things that require you to grow up, and that requires you to kind of, put yourself, I wouldn't say on the back burner, but, to put somebody, um, to prioritize somebody, should I say, not over yourself, but to prioritize them in general and to make an effort, to meet them halfway, in life. I feel like people are more afraid of that. I feel like, we know people who are afraid of commitment, and once the commitment gets to a certain level, it's like they're out of there. I feel like love love has levels, and what comes with the higher levels of love, requires work. And as we know, goes without saying, but it really requires you to dig deep within yourself, and then to also dig deep into the other person. So I feel like I feel like people sometimes, I found myself there in the past, that that apprehensiveness, I would say, to, okay, like, how deep can this go, and what is it going to require from me? You know, uh, like King asked, Seven Circles. When you're trying to build an empire, you already have certain things you're prioritizing. Especially if you're managing your time. You're going to have to sacrifice some things. When
right,
you
right.
might be working, or chasing the bag, or building your empire, what have you, that now you want to spend your time with somebody else, but that requires a certain amount of sacrifice on a small level. So I feel like it's that aspect of relationships that people kind of like shy away from, because it's going to require something of you. It's not you just having a good time with somebody and exploiting somebody, whether it be physically, maybe financially at
Right,
that.
right, right.
But now you got to put some work in. You gotta step up to the plate. So I feel like that can be a very um, intimidating aspect, of relationships and love for people.
I think that I was afraid of love at one point in my life.
Mm.
I was, and you have to understand, or just we need to understand, is that we live in a fear based society, right? And so when you look at the religious system, the popular ones anyway, they are fear-based. Do this or you're going to go to hell. Do this or you're going to be judged and you're going to be punished for whatever. If you look at the school system, right? Do this or you're going to get an F and you're going to flunk. You're going to be homeless. You look at the agriculture system. Do this or you're going to get sick, right? Everything is fear-based. You look at the media. We were talking about the media. You turn on, most of the shows, most of the news or whatever, it's fear-based.
Yeah.
And this goes in so many different directions, including the video games, et cetera, et cetera. So what is the opposite of love? The opposite of love is fear. And so, or fear, or the opposite of love is not knowing that you are loved, which is fear, right? It's not necessarily the opposite, but when we look at love, because of this limited language that we use, this English language, it doesn't fully encompass and express what love is, right? It's just a bastardized language. And we all know this, but love is self-acceptance, right? You can be born with one arm and 3 legs and to still accept yourself. And that's a form of love. A lot of people don't accept themselves. A lot of people try to change their hair color, their eye color, their skin color, the breast, the butt, the enhancements, the largest of your penis, et cetera, plastic surgery. Love is peace. Love is honesty. Love is responsibility. Love is harmonious. So are we afraid of love? I think a lot of people are afraid of love. I think some women that if you come off too strong and actually give, because I've given some women love that they weren't ready for that love. They was like, oh, wait a minute, you're gonna love me.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Or there could be some women like, hey, we can do whatever. I'm nasty, but I don't want to kiss because I feel like kissing really, really opens my heart space. Because if you know anything about the body and the tongue is actually connected to your what do you call it? Between your anus and between your genital organs. It's something called the perineum, and the perineum is known as your moolah, or you can practice something called mula bandha, which really is your root chakra. And so this is actually the beginning of it, and that's actually the end of it. It's one big thing. So when you're doing certain mudras in yoga and doing other things, you're touching your tongue on the top of your mouth. All right, and that completes the circuit. But if you remove your tongue, it doesn't complete the circuit. So when people speak, right, and we say the life and death is in the power of the tongue, that has power, right? When you use your tongue to connect with somebody else's tongue, which we call a French kiss, or this is intimate, this actually really connects to. It's like the avatar. You're connecting 2 things together. So. Again, women, right? Some women, they don't care. They take it up the butt. They take it anywhere, right? They get freaky deaky. But then when it comes to a kiss, oh, I don't want to kiss because they're afraid of love. But what's interesting is that a lot of us were made out of love. Everybody that came here went through some type of love. Some people might say it was lust or something like that. But I will make it different, and I could argue or debate and say that it was love that was there somewhere. And so. Are we afraid of it? I think we are, again, because we're programmed, and we talked about the subconscious. We talked about the data and how that programming works from 1 through 7. That's why, what's the guy's name? That's why the Catholic priest said, give me a child until the age of 7, and I'll show you the man. This is why Aristotle, right? He said, give me a child until the age of 7, and I'll show you the man. This is why Bruce Lipton, if you guys know Bruce Lipton, he talked about this as well too. Give me a child to the age of 7, I'll show you the man. Because from the age of you being born up until the age of 7, you're primarily functioning in your theta or delta brain system. So if you're living in an environment, right, you got religions, educational, agriculture, law, media, monetary, and medical, and all of these institutions that are putting out a frequency of fear, right? Putting out a frequency of fear. And this is what you're accustomed to. And this is what you're used to. When somebody tries to love you and actually gives you love, hey, that's too much for me. Get away from me. Don't you be loving me like this. I've seen girls say, hey, don't love me like that. Like they're not ready for it. So I think people are afraid of love. I have been afraid of love in my life, and it has been a stepping stone. You have to gradually work yourself up there, I think, especially if you aren't used to it, if you weren't born in the family where you have that type of love, because it can be detrimental. It's like living deep underground in the darkness and then coming up into this bright light. That's going to hurt your eyes, right? You kind of got to get adjusted to it. So I know I kind of got hyped.
That's deep.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Ashe.
I would say for me personally, just show you some love. You know what I'm saying from the chat, man. The family is definitely rocking with that message. Um, and so I'm actually gonna get ready to bring on two goddess. We're gonna bring some balance in this show. We're
Do
gonna
it.
talk to the goddess. You know what I'm saying?
It's only
Because
right.
yeah, we have to know what they have to say, and we have to.
Before you do that, can I ask you one question, man? Because I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by this. You said that you known your girl since you were in the third grade, right, King?
I say,
And
yep.
a lot of times in the third grade, when you like somebody, you might hit that. Oh, why he keep hitting me? Because you like that person. I wanted to
I know
know.
what you about to do.
I wanted to know was there something like that? Was it the dynamic like that, or were you just kind of like, oh, I like her,
Nah, bro.
maybe
Like,
we'll get into it? Or was it like, you know what I mean?
I actually used to annoy her, bro.
Okay, yeah.
I actually but it's like a classic moment that we remember. First and foremost, I used to have her give me all her snacks, like and not give it to
Bro,
me, but
you was
share 'em.
you
You
was
know what I'm saying?
Debo
Like,
up for the snacks, bro.
like she had to share 'em. You know what I'm saying? My mama wasn't giving me no snacks. You know what I'm saying? Her
The
mama, you
Broad
know what
Street
I'm saying, is
Bully.
amazing. You know what I'm saying? So I say, hey, you know what I mean? But it's my first compliment to her was actually in third grade, and I told her I like her bows. You know what I'm saying? So I was macking, a little
I
bit,
was
a little something.
macking.
You know what I mean? I was letting her know that I was looking at her. You know what I'm saying? A certain type of way. So yeah,
The bows told it on.
that's a good fun fact, man. That's deep.
That is. That's
I would have probably
that's
never said that
beautiful.
neither. Actually, we're gonna bring the goddess on, and then we're gonna actually play. Matter of fact, before we bring them on, let's I'm from the rock here. Let's play Cosmic Love. I always play a record every show, so about to play a record right now. And this record is actually about me and my goddess story.
Beautiful.
Just put that good love relationship energy out there. Um, it's called Cosmic Love, so I'm getting to it. So here we go. Peace, 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 family.
Peace.
Peace, big energy. Um, Family, you can go and come on too, fam. We ready for you. One more goddess we waiting on. Peace and peace, peace, family. I see you on
Peace,
here.
Hey,
family. Hi.
the
You know
good
this this
sister.
this is sis right here. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
what?
Never met her in the flesh yet, but she is sis. You know what I mean? That is my sister. That is our
And that's
sister.
bro.
It's a
I
fact.
say, big soul tribe energy. Um, So I guess we can start off with how are you feeling tonight? Just about the episode, about relationships, about just right now. What are your current feelings, or what do you want to speak about? What do you want to share with the tribe?
Well, I must say you guys touch on a lot of amazing stuff so far. What I wanted to touch on was you had asked if we are afraid of love. That was the question you had asked.
Yeah.
For me, the way I see it is depending on um what path you're on, what level of consciousness that you're on, if you're healed or if you're not healed, then your answer would be able to suit that stage of your life. So each stage might be a different answer. For me right now, I don't think I'm afraid of love. I don't think I have ever been. It was always me trying to look for love. And now I'm on the self-care love path, I must say. And a lot of people be dropping off in that and it's how you said it's hard to understand the process when you're new to this. And because in Christianity there's so many people in Christianity that you have so many people that you're almost around or could reach out to. But when you're like this, it's called soul tribe, is like who you connect to spiritually.
Right.
And I'm glad I got to meet you guys. Is that Candice? Yes.
Hey,
Yep.
baby, how are
Yep.
you?
Peace,
Yes.
peace, peace,
That's
guys.
sis,
Peace,
that's
peace.
bro,
What's up,
that's bro.
family?
We're all family.
Yeah, and then we got 7 circles. Big soul tribe energy.
Yep.
Hey, what's going on?
He been spitting some fire. Really
Oh yeah,
some
so
wow.
Tony, I'm
That's
watching.
I say.
my question I had to ask was, I know we're on the topic of relationships and we've been talking about male and female relationship as in intimate wise, but
Right.
what I'm thinking about is we were talking about this in a chat, I think, and in another chat on Telegram about altars. I don't have a connection with some family members that passed away. I know them, yes, but we never really had a bond. So my question is, do we still make an altar for them to create that bond through that altar, or we don't have to make an altar for them?
Can I ask a question? I think it starts off with a question first. Do you have an altar currently for any of your ancestors?
No.
So then don't start with those ancestors. You start with the ones that you know that you have a relationship with, that you have memories with, that you start with those. And then you'll be led from that point on, how to build on your altar. But start with the ancestors that you actually do know and the ones that you are actually connected with first. That's
That's deep because there's none.
well then
I
maybe
I didn't come from that family that we have this lovey-dovey, huggy, close, tight relationship with. So that's why I asked the question is like, do you create the bond now or do you just leave it be?
is there are you being pulled to a certain ancestor? Are you being pulled to a certain, great grandmother or grandmother, or or are you just wanting to connect with your ancestors?
I think the why the question came up is because we just talk about connecting with our ancestors, and I don't know which ancestors I'm supposed to connect with, seeing that there wasn't a bond.
Mhm.
Could I answer that if you don't mind in my own type of way?
Of course.
So a lot of times when we look at an altar, right, and you see I got a bunch of stuff, I got crystals all over the place. I've never had an altar before, physically, like outside of myself. And I look at an altar as you, the temple, being the altar. So a lot of times when it comes to an altar, we have candles, right? We have sage, we have something that we might burn. We even have food that we will put there. But when you look at the human body and what it is, it's a lot of fat. So when you do things such as like a yoga, or a tai chi or something, what you're actually doing is you're actually burning that fat. And when you do it in a way that has an intention behind it, it's more powerful than burning the fat of a candle. It's more powerful than actually burning the fat of a black sage or a regular white sage. And so I think having the intention that you want to connect with your ancestors and then go outside, connect your feet onto the ground, right? Because there's something called Akashic Records, which records everything in the whole universe. But
I'd
there's
say.
also an Akashic record that is on each planet, right? And just like even for yourself, because you are a microcosmic of the macrocosmic. So everything that has ever occurred on this earth, there is a recording system that records all of this energetically. So by you connecting on the earth with your feet, not having any insulation, not having any shoes on, and making that connection, you connect into the Akashic records of the earth. And then by your intention and by you burning the fat, whether if it's qigong standing like this as tree pose, which is going to burn fat, whether if it's yoga and you're doing a warrior pose, believe it or not, you're burning fat. You're going to start sweating, right? And so what happens is by your intention, because you are God, you're going to make that connection, and your ancestors are going to give you the message which is best suited for you. So it's nothing wrong with an author, and I know an author, an author, where you are the author, but there's nothing wrong with an author. But I think that a lot of times people really don't understand is that everything that they see outside of themselves is dumb. Just like your eyes are the cameras, just like your nervous system is electricity. You have the two wires. Just like your digestive system is the plumbing system. Just like the way that a car functions through combustion, that's the same way that your body functions with the oxygen, right? So once again, you are the altar. Pray to yourself, make an intention, and I think that things will manifest a lot quicker for you.
And can I give a testimony to backdoor what he's saying? This is nothing but facts because I've actually been one. This is a good point that he's making because, truthfully, when I'm in a place too where I don't know, all of us are in a place where we don't know who some of our ancestors are. That's what the mission of it. We're constantly discovering and learning about different parts of our ancestors, especially we talking on the cosmic, aspect from the ethers from the beginning. That goes all the way deep. You know what I'm saying? To find the gods in your family tree per se. But for me, like just like he said, and Julio can vouch for this, I've told this story plenty of times. I have gotten grounded. I have had the intention of connecting with my ancestors and really just wanting to I had certain things happening and I feel like something is happening in you. Like I said in the chat, you may just not be remembering it. You know what I'm saying? But it keep coming up in your subconscious. But I went and got grounded and I set my intention. I'm talking about like Julio, like I said, I tell you can vouch. I set my intention. I literally connected and I saw a whole colony of dragons. And this Julio will tell you I got a big thing with dragons, and I've been seeing dragons in many different ways. And I know that my ancestors are part of my ancestors are dragons, as weird as that may sound to many people. But my point is that when you like what he said, the power of setting your intention and getting grounded. The last time I actually got grounded, I told y'all about whenever we did the getting grounded on live on Instagram. I told you about how and I got grounded. I actually connected with the grid under me. I saw like the whole grid, the whole crystal grid, everything. It was nothing but energy. It was like I almost can't even explain it, but that energy shot up in my body.
You're
After
what?
that,
I'm sorry. Well, I was going to say a lot of people don't understand, according to my knowledge and my research, is that in the center of this planet is actually a gigantic quartz crystal, and
I
and
say,
so
yeah,
we do. Of course, mainstream would tell you that it's some type of lava or something like that, but that's all BS. It doesn't mean anything. But I just want to say really quickly, going back to intention. If you look at it, right, you intend for something. So that's the same as the law of assumption or the law of expectation, or even when you look at faith, faith. Faith is fully anticipating it to happen, faith. Right? You have the intention that it's going to happen, and we need to understand who we truly are. We are gods and goddesses, and this is the reason why there's so much propaganda, so much energy, so much material that tries to tell us otherwise. There's so much. Why would they invest billions in it if we were not? All we have to do is speak it, the power of the tongue. Boom. I guarantee this, just like you said, this happened in my life too. One time I was making this amount of money a month. I said, you know what? I actually want to add on an extra zero. The minute I made a real decision, a real intention, because it has to be real, right? Like
yeah,
decision means it comes from a Latin verb meaning incision, meaning cut off. You cut off all other possibilities. Somebody who says, I'm going to try to smoke, I'm going to try to make, I'm going to try. That's not a decision. A decision is saying that I'm going to do it. When you say, hey, I'm going to go to the restroom, it's done. When you say, hey, I'm going to write a book, not I'm going to try to one day. No, when you make a decision and attention, it's done. And to know who you are, to know thyself, that you are literally God in the flesh. They tell you, don't you know that you're all gods? Don't you know that ye are gods, right? We're made in the image of God.
Guys,
We're told this, but we like to have a buffet style on what we want to accept. Give me some corn, mashed potatoes, and chicken, but I don't want no green beans. Give me some biscuits and chicken, but no corn, no mashed potatoes. We like the buffet when it comes to the material, but accept it or don't accept it at all. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my.
And I want to piggyback on real quick something Circle said because I felt like you spoke on something that I've been touching on in my personal research, which is, a lot of this that we're talking about could be considered magic. Which is the definition I know magic to be is to influence the seen with the unseen forces. That could be as simple as Seven Circles said, making a decision and intending something and therefore changing the reality. Right? That in and of itself is magic. So when you're talking about, in my opinion, we're moving into an age where the magic is mind based, like he said. So no longer do you need an altar or do you need these physical things, but you can accomplish it strictly within yourself. And cycling back to what Michelle was asking, with the ancestors, you know, because we're encased in matter in the body, it's like we're still in the prison, quote unquote. Your ancestors are no longer in the prison; they've escaped the body, and they exist in the realm of ether or in spirit in certain regards. So at all times, it's like if you're in a prison and you got this whole army of people outside the prison feeding you information, giving you clues, giving you energy. But when you know that all of your ancestors are within you, as Seven Circles was saying, it makes it very easy to access them via intention because the only thing that's here is us. We are our ancestors and our ancestors are us. They have access to, the physical world via, our bodies. So I feel like that intention and knowing that, like you just said, knowing that you're a God and that essentially all things exist through you and within you, you have access to all things, even things that your conscious mind may not be able to piece together. It's as simple as an intention and using yourself as a transmitter and a receiver to get that information. So I feel like it's deep that you spoke on that, Seven Circles, because we're moving in an age where you are the magic. You don't have to go get a crow's foot, some frankincense oil, mash it all up. It's like you can do those things, what some will call spells or what I consider formulas, with the mind alone. So I feel like it's deep that you spoke on that.
So let's get to it. The goddess are here. Like I said, much gratitude to you again. I call you I'm authentic. I feel like that you are that, like, that name is literally who you are. You are very authentic, and stick to who you are, and the authentic people are the most genuine and the realest ones out here. So but I want to actually ask a question to both of you guys, or to both of you guys. How do you feel like, I gotta word this? How do you feel? Okay, the perspective of sex is actually, in my opinion, ruining a lot of relationships, the idea of relationships, and the idea of a lot of guys wanting to get into relationships because y'all have been so sexualized and looked at as a object versus a being, looked at as a good time versus a companionship, or a friend. And true, there's always a motive. Like you're not sure if this love that's being given is being given off a genuine place, because there's always something that somebody wants, and we know what that is. So, how do y'all feel about that? Yeah, that's the question. I'm sorry, I don't know if I ended it off well.
I totally get the question. We just talked about that earlier. My situation. Can y'all hear me pretty good?
Yep,
Yeah, we
sounds
good.
good.
What I have come across over, I'll say, the last 2 years, actually during my healing journey, a lot of guys have this thing where, like I was telling you earlier, guys are seem like they're more fearful of being hurt, and they have their walls up a little bit more. I feel, and I could be wrong, from what I've came across, more than what women have. So that fear that they're using is causing them to go into these friends with benefit situations where they want the comfort of a woman. They want to be around a woman. They want to treat you like their woman, but they don't want to give you the title because that wall is up.
That's
Due to
deep.
several things, you have guys that have had situations in their past that they have been hurt from. You have women out here that's about that. They so independent, get they bag type stuff. They putting that money and everything else in front of these men and not actually nurturing to their men. So a lot of men are not taking that risk and jumping in so fast by giving you that title, wanting to be. They just like, man, I'm gonna smash and I'm gonna do this and then I'm done with it. And that's coming back to what y'all was saying, music that's out, social media that's out. And I think that's also building up in the mentality of these men that all women are pretty much the same. Sometimes it just depends. Not all men, but most men are the ones I've been coming across. Yes, I can tell. I feel the fear. I feel the wall when I'm speaking to them. They're not even really trying to get to know you on a soul level now. It's more like, yo, what you got, your body, these BBLs, these lip injections, this makeup, all of this stuff is making it hard, especially for women like me, where I'm like, dude, bring your wall down. You know what I'm saying? I'm you don't have to be like that with me. I'm here, to listen. You could be vulnerable with me, but it's like I can't even get past certain text messages, before I even get to that point. So it's kind of hard. They just want to have sex and wham bam, thank you, man, going on about their business.
Can I go deeper with the question then?
Go ahead.
You as a goddess, you have as someone that is doing shadow work and out her, fulfilling her purpose and actually growing and focused on other levels and just going deeper into your purpose and self love. What do you feel like will be a solution, or what will actually help that fear? And obviously we know as men we can speak about what we can do as gods, but what do you feel will be good for as a goddess, which y'all can actually help us? I'm saying, obviously we got to be open to whatever that you speak on, but what do you think are some good solutions for a goddess to have a god that has an open heart, and that wants to evolve?
Definitely more platforms like this. You get what I'm saying? More platforms with both, balanced off. Like how you have this, you have guys and you have women on this platform now, and they're listening, and knowing it's okay. It is real goddess out here that actually don't mind you being vulnerable. They don't mind that you can lead, provide, protect, and teach, because that's my 4 rules right there that I look for in a guy. Leading, that's showing me you can solve problems. You're not always looking for me to solve that problem first, and that's providing. Providing don't have to be always monetary. It could be just the core of your manhood, what providing is. And then protection, it's like you're taking a role of a king and a warrior. And then as far as teaching, that's what's giving me a deeper level, like spiritual level, business and stuff like that. So that just 2 people having a deep conversation, about important topics and not feeling judged by one another, that is like very imperative. And if we can do these platforms like this and keep continuing to get bigger and bigger, I think that will help.
And I want to speak on something you just said, and I'm gonna put I'm gonna put the males on the spot a little bit, because
Let's do it. We need
because I feel like this isn't spoken on enough, man, and the guys that suffer because of this. As a man, when you get to, I say, about age 25 plus, you have to have a solid idea of who you are, where you're at, and where you're going. If you don't have that at 25 plus, it's kind of like a shame on you type of a thing, because when they say there's nothing new under the sun, right? We're all human beings. Right. The things that we're looking to do and that we desire to do, all people are also looking to do, which is to find somebody to grow old with, to share ourselves with, and invest in, And what I found in myself in earlier times of my life was that what prevented me from getting deeper with a woman to the level that I would like to, and this is when I was younger, was not being where I wanted to be in my life. Meaning, I didn't have anything to offer in the respect of being able to provide. I didn't have the capability to lead, so I deflected the attention from that to other things, And it's like I feel like, and I can only speak from a male's perspective, which is, now when I'm thinking about relationships, I'm thinking about, okay, I'm looking for a woman that I can provide for, without being restricted, that I can lead, respectfully, of course, and that I can, protect without it seeming overprotected. Instead of, okay, what can I get out of this situation? So I feel like that's when and King says this all the time, like the difference between a nigga and a guy. You have to be able to discern when you're bless you. You have to discern when you're in the presence of a nigga, quote unquote, or a god, which is to say somebody who who can triangulate their position. They know exactly where they're at. They know exactly where they need to go, and they know how they're going to go about doing that. You know, if that's not something that you're seeing from a dude, it's like you don't have no business even entertaining it, because there's nothing that he's going to be able to bring to the table for you that's going to be worth your time and leave you fulfilled. And again, bringing it back to the media, I'd say 90% of dudes, and the younger they get, I'm seeing the more it's prevalent, where it's just like, okay, like, what are you bringing to the table? It's this, it's something to me that's out of divine order. As the goddess Purple Lotus Flower said, you want those things because you feel it instinctively. You feel it in your cellular memory that is what a god is supposed to provide. Our conscious mind, we were talking about the subconscious mind earlier. Your subconscious mind knows how things should be, how things shouldn't be, why certain things will go certain ways, and it aligns to that. You know, so I feel like, you know, when I say we're all chasing the same thing, eventually we will all be chasing the same thing. Eventually, every man is going to know that he has to provide and is going to like doing that. Every man is going to know that he has to lead and is going to find fulfillment in it. But a lot of dudes aren't there mentally because they don't see the advantage in it, for one, but also they don't see the beauty in it. You know, like previous generations did.
Let's be real. Since you say you dropping the ball on men, there's a lot of intimidation going on. Men are intimidated.
Yeah.
By goddess.
Yeah,
You know,
and I'm glad you said that. Yeah, and so I'm going to cut you off because you was leading me to my next point. A lot of men are intimidated because a lot of these goddesses, 9 times out of 10, the goddesses, they know where they're at, they know where they're going, and they know how they're going to get there. A lot of the times, a lot earlier than we do. So when we come in contact with a goddess who has her head on and knows these things, it makes us think like, oh, okay, well, what am I doing? And not only that, what if she sees that I'm not capable of being that person? And that in and of itself, in my opinion, causes toxicity, because it's and King, you said this earlier, then it becomes us trying to hurt one another, where it's like, who does she think she is? I'm supposed to be doing this. And a lot of these antiquated ideas of relationships start coming up that you are hearing about in the media. Now you feel like you have a reason to get on the case. So and I'm gonna give it to you, King, but you literally. Okay, go ahead. I'm glad you spoke on that, King, because that's major.
It's on you now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, thank you. I just wanted to put this out there because this has been a conversation that has been going around a lot, right? What are the roles? And a lot of people want to know, what's the role of a man? What's the role of a woman? And I've asked this question a lot on all of my social media platforms. And I just want to say, everybody who's watching, please share this video, pass it on to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of your people. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't been subscribing. Follow each one of us. Follow Julio on all social platforms. Follow myself, TikTok, YouTube. Follow Keen on the rest of his. He wants to get his TikTok up. We want to see that get bigger and bigger. This is how we change the vibration. And these two young, beautiful ladies, if they have platforms as well, hopefully under those aliases, so you can follow them as well too. But when we look at gender roles, right, and a lot of times they would say the woman actually nourishes, that's her role, and the man provides. And more or less, that's what I hear about 90% of the time, and that can vary a little bit. When we talk about providing, a lot of times people think that providing is bringing home the bag, bringing home the money, right, being the protector, right, having the gun, the gold, and the gun. Right, the man has the gold and the gun. But you know, when we think about what is valuable in life, and we, you know, somebody who just been locked up for a long time can definitely tell you what the true value of life really is. Of course, we know it's the sun and the water and the air and the earth and all of those things. But what is really the value of life is relationships. And what's really the values of life are the things that we were talking about earlier, like peace and harmony and compassion. Those things are more valuable than any type of money. And anybody who truly has money will let you know that, because they're still searching for those things, even though they have all the amount of money. So when we talk about what is the purpose of a man, right, and we say that a man is to provide, I would say that he's to provide, but with the but, right? He's to provide, but he's to provide these things. He's to provide harmony in the household and balance. He's to provide love. He's to provide respect. He's to create an environment where things could blossom and things could grow naturally in that environment. And so, again, society made us think. This is what Kanye said, right? They made us love their wealth and hate ourselves. That's why Shorty's screaming where the ball is at, right?
Yeah.
We tend to think that this is what it's all about, but it's just an instrument, like that guitar back there. It's just an instrument, right?
Yeah.
And so, again, providing the things that really have value, right? And if you look at the world, you look at all of the insects, all of the animals, all of the plants, this is value to all of them. Love. They all want love. The plant can't use the love. Can't use the dollar bill. The animal can't use the dollar bill, but it can use the love as valuable. The water can use the love as valuable. The honesty, the trust, the self acceptance, all of this stuff, right? We can go down the list of all of the positive attributes that humans are capable of embodying, right? And every life form opens up to those positive attributes. So again, providing, men need to work on themselves. Women need to work on themselves. There's been plenty of tribes in the past, native, different indigenous tribes, where the women are separated, the men are separated. When it comes time to moon time, right, and a woman will get a certain amount of cramps depending on how much BS she was in her last cycle. I think I'm saying this right. You ladies can correct me if I'm wrong. But and then when she starts bleeding, right? If she had a good time that wasn't stressful, she won't really have so much pain. But if she had to deal with a lot of BS, it's going to be that much harder for her because the blood is cleansing everything out. And in these tribes, they would separate the women from the men for 3 or 4 days, and there was something called the blood tents or whatever, and they would just all the women would be together and they would build on one another. We need to get back like this right here. Me being with my two brothers and my two sisters, this is beautiful. This is what community is about. And even when you look at community, how do you spell it? You spell it come, COMM, and then unity. So come unity, come together, right?
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. And this is how we break the matrix. When they say that we are just people with saggy pants and that smoke weed and that talk about killing, we break the matrix by showing them differently. This is where we take our power back. This is where we increase the vibration by being who we are, not who they say we are. And we do it in a way where we put it in their face. This is how Gandhi won, right? Lying on the street fasting. This is how many of the other people have won and made a tremendous change. We're at an important time, and I know I'm going off topic, but let me just say this really quickly. We're in an important time in history. Important. And what each and every one of you beautiful souls, beautiful people do at this moment is literally going to change the trajectory of the human destiny forever. So again, like I was telling this young lady, the power is in you. You are God. Having these platforms, right? Having this many subscribers, this many followers, if you are doing it just to get a piece of paper that has a dead president on it, then you missed the mission. You missed the mark. You did not understand the assignment. If you have 1 million people and you don't want to succumb, right, and you don't want to step up to the plate and put out something that's high vibrational, then you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be there. It's time that we actually really start rising the level, the bar, and start having self responsibility for what we're putting out, because we really can do this at this moment. We really can. And then all of these things that we're talking about, the shadow work and everything else, really won't be so necessary, because a lot of the problems will automatically be fixed from the gate. It's like working on the foundation. The whole house is going to straighten up, right? We have to figure out what is the most important thing to attack and strategize properly, and then attack that thing. And I just think that the most important thing to attack right now is, again, knowing yourself, know who you are, do the work, take your shoes off, get out there and just make it happen.
You are definitely right. Back to the menstrual cycle. That menstrual cycle, yes, you are totally correct. And then one thing too that people don't understand, when women bleed, we are totally taking all the stress from the whole household, and we're pushing that out. During that menstrual cycle, we taking everybody, the husbands, the kids, your stress, everything that's going on in your household, that's what you're bleeding out. And that's what Queen of Fool, I went in the book, is talking about that. So you are totally right about the days, even the cramping, the all of that stuff. Like it's very, very imperative for that woman to also um know thyself and also be able to nurture herself and nurture her household and everything else so it won't be so stressful for her,
Mm.
when she's going through that. So yeah, I didn't even know
Side
that
note,
at first. I was like, wow.
something that actually helps, just just a random fact, I guess. I mean, I'm married, you know what I'm saying, but
I know you know.
maca root, maca root, it you won't feel no pain, and it actually helps your mood too, where you would be,
See,
I don't know what it does, but it's powerful. It
I
works.
take I
I've seen
take
it
maca
different.
root and I take hirataki too. So yeah, it
So
helps.
yeah,
Ooh, I've
very
been meaning
very
to order
powerful.
some Haritaki. I
Mm-hmm.
need
You know,
that. I heard amazing things about the Haritaki.
Oh, that's some good stuff. Best
I heard
dreams
I,
you're ever having.
I
Oh,
heard
I
it gets
know.
that third eye wide open.
Oh yeah.
that's fair. So so this comment right here is very powerful to me
Oh, that's
because
my
this is
bro.
real. You know, so fam said most men don't have guidance as young men. Most are not taught to think for themselves. Most young boys are pushed to either the field or the courts. And so I actually want to speak on that for me personally, how cold that statement really is. Because me, I wasn't taught. And I had did a lot of things I had been through, man. I'm talking about many relationships. Like I told y'all many episodes, but before every relationship I got into, I was dating a female that had a child because I always desired children. So I was kind of like I wasn't even really dating the women. I was really there because the bond I had made with the children. But point is that when I got with my goddess and we got married, I say 22, but really it was 21. And basically it was our anniversary is like a week before my birthday, so I kind of put it right there. But point is, we got married at that age. I said that for her. You know what I'm saying? It's just so y'all know. You all be thinking that I don't know, but I wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. We loved each other. The love was, I mean, unheard of, but it was very toxic. Loving me came with a lot for her, and loving her came with a lot for me. And as much as this situation that we masked as something that was building us up throughout the years, due to we wasn't taught on how to do this. 3 4 years later, you get at it, and you realize that it's just a pile. Excuse my French, a pile of shit that y'all have put on top of each other, and now you're married to baggage.
Mm.
Now you're loving with reservation. And so
Deep.
is to me it's even cold just with us when we do get with these people and we decide to stay with them and maybe go through those problems. The problem is, like I said, is that we actually end up transferring this trauma due to these things. And so I learned with her. And so to me, your mate, your soulmate, that person that's meant for you, y'all gonna be able to grow with each other and evolve with each other. And you know why? Because that's your soulmate. Y'all been together for thousands of years. Y'all have done this before, time after time after time again. So even though you're frustrated with him today, even though you might be like, she get on my nerves tomorrow, there's something in your soul that's like, that's baby. We're gonna figure this out. And not figure it out in a toxic way of staying with somebody to work something out that's not good for you, but in a way of, I can see, due to the love that I have enough love to actually not change you, but influence you enough to actually help you grow. She
Yeah.
helped me grow because she loved me. So she had to love that child. She had to let me throw temper tantrums as a grown ass man, raising my voice, getting out her rah 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 rah, having these very immature moments. She had to actually love me through that. She had to deal with me getting upset with my father because I have trauma still from my father, and I'm getting enraged and I'm getting frustrated, and she had to hug me.
Mm.
She had to, whenever she's going through her traumatic things that she went through that actually affected the relationship because she wasn't necessarily taught how to be a wife. My wife, what we got to talk about too is that you could have been loved so well that you become a liability to somebody else's love. My goddess was so loved so well that some things became like second nature that wasn't second nature for me.
Right.
So I'm trying to give her a certain type of love, and it's not hidden because her life was so her mama and them loved her so good. I don't know how to love you like your mama did. I got to figure this out. And now I can become this negative person. So I'm saying all this to say there's a process that you have to go through because we wasn't taught. We wasn't taught how to love. We wasn't taught how to have relationships. We only mock what we see.
Mm-hmm.
So since we mock what we see, you have to, when you go into a relationship, be ready to turn down everything. It's like getting in the shower. You to get clean, you gotta take all your clothes off. That's an analogy that's been used forever. When you get into a relationship, you better take off all your clothes, anything that you wore. I mean, matter of fact, throw them away. If you had a date with somebody in them clothes, if you got a memory over here, some trauma situation with that outfit, get rid of all of it and because that's the only way it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? There's an openness and like I said, the accountability partner. You know what I'm saying? She beat my head in to the point we argued so much because I felt like she didn't like me. I said, you like everybody else but me. You know, but all along, she was raising that little boy. And then our community so focused on forget him. He ain't this, that nigga ain't got this. Forget her. She ain't this, she ain't got this. When really a lot of us didn't have real parents. Even if they was there, they missed the mark in so many areas that we are children getting in relationships with other children. So we have to be aware of that and love each other from a compassionate place of like, he just don't know. She just don't know. I got you, baby. Come here. You know, to me, that makes the difference. We're gonna get out of here. We got 1 minute. We're gonna get out here at 11:11 divine time. And so I want to say y'all go follow 7 Circles on all platforms at 7. So
check me out on YouTube, check me out on TikTok, check me out on Instagram, check me out on Twitter, check me out on all platforms. 7 Circles. Appreciate it.
I say, and then go follow. Let me see. I'm Authentic. What is your Instagram? I'm Authentic.
That's it on Instagram. It's I'm Authentic Me.
All right, so follow I'm Authentic Me, and then y'all go follow Purple Lotus 777. It's 777, right? 888.
That's
888. I'm sorry. I knew I was gonna get something wrong.
Purple Lotus Flower 888 on YouTube and on IG and on TikTok.
And all the got is tap in with her. If you want to, she wants to tap in. So she has a podcast. If you are open to speak and to actually connect and be vulnerable and talk about healing, she is actually there. That is a portal for you to go do that. So peace, love, and life, family. We out.
Peace.
Peace, peace.
Peace, family.
Affirmations daily, you should join in. Love is the vibe and we own it. The universe been talking to the chosen. The universe been talking to the chosen. God energy, God energy. Everything inside of me, feel the frequency.